Hello and welcome to yet another tutorial by Davies Media Design. My name is Michael Davies, and in today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to create a double exposure effect using GIMP. This will be GIMP version 2.10.14, which at the time of this tutorial is the latest version of GIMP. But of course, before I get into that, I want to direct you guys over to my website at daviesmediadesign.com. As always, I have tons of GIMP and Inkscape tutorials on here, as well as my GIMP book of layers and GIMP and Inkscape help articles, so definitely check that out. You can enroll in my GIMP 2.10 Masterclass from beginner to pro photo editing on Udemy. You can enroll in any of my Skillshare classes by visiting gimpschool.com, and you can get more with a premium membership to Davies Media Design. Your premium membership includes access to my GIMP Help Center app, as well as any ebooks including the GIMP Book of Layers and exclusive content not found on YouTube. And I'll include a link to this as well as all the relevant links from this tutorial in the description of the video. So I'll be using two stock photos for this tutorial today. One is found on Pexels, and just click the free download here. I went with the large size, and then I also used a photo from Pixabay, and just click the free download button here as well, and I went with the 1920 by 1280 version. So let me minimize this. Here is the final result. We have a model profile shot here, and then we have the mountain mixed in here to create that double exposure effect. I know I already created a tutorial on how to create this double exposure effect on my channel, but that tutorial is about 4 years old now, so I figured I would do an updated version of the tutorial using the latest version of GIMP, as well as a new technique that's going to make this a little bit faster and produce a better final result. So let's dive in here. I'll start by opening up the photo I want to use. So in my case, I'll go to Open Recent, File, Open Recent, and open up the photo of the adult businessman, as it's called. So the first thing I want to do is select the foreground object from the background, and we can do that very easily using the Foreground Select Tool. I have an entire tutorial dedicated to this tool, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. So I'll come over here and grab my Foreground Select Tool, and it's going to start me with the Draw Background mode, and I have the lasso tool here selected on my mouse pointer, and I'm just going to loosely select the foreground object and make sure I connect this. And now I'll hit the Enter key. Next, I'm going to make sure that my draw mode is set to draw foreground, so I'll click on that if it didn't automatically switch me to that. And I can increase the size of the brush using the left or right brackets on my keyboard, or I can adjust the stroke width over here. Hold the Control key or Command key on a Mac and use the scroll on my mouse wheel to zoom in. And now I'm just going to select the foreground. And as always, the more precise you are with this, the better the final result will be. And let me just Control Z to undo that. I want to make sure I don't accidentally select any of the background while I'm doing this. So I'll use the brackets on my keyboard to change the brush size as I go. All right, once I have a lot of the subjects sufficiently selected here as the foreground, I'll just hit the Enter key on my keyboard, and that should select your foreground object. Then I'm going to hit the Enter key, and you'll see that'll create a selection area in the shape of the profile here, and there might be some holes in the selection like right there. All you need to do to fix that is go to Select, Remove Holes, and that'll take out any small areas like that. But this is going to be good for now for what I need. So now that I have my selection area, and we're going to be using the shape of this profile here a lot, what I'm going to do is go to my Paths tab and then create a path from this selection. So I'll come over here and click on my Paths tab, and then come down here and click this icon here, Selection to Path. That'll put that selection on a path, so if I hit Control-Shift-A, you can hide or unhide this path, and we can now use this selection area throughout the tutorial. Next, I'll come back to the Layers tab, and I'm going to desaturate this now, and let me just rename this Model and hit the Enter key. And now I'm going to come over here and go to Colors, Desaturate, Desaturate. That's going to convert my photo to black and white. And I'm going to set the mode here to Luminance and click OK. But next, I'm going to just add a bit of contrast to this, so I'm going to come over here to Colors, Levels, and I'm just going to adjust the levels slider here. So that was the shadows, here's the highlights. And then I can also adjust the midtones. So here's a before, here is an after. So much more contrast there, and I'll click OK. Next, I'll bring in the photo of my mountain, and I can do that by going to File, Open as Layers. And here is the photo right here. You guys can search through your computer and find the photo you want to use. Mine's right here, so I'll just click Open. So here's our photo of the mountain, and I'll need to move this in place, so I'll hit M on my keyboard, or I can grab my Move tool over here. And I'm also going to decrease the opacity of this a little bit. And then I'm going to move the mountain to where I want it. So I want the forehead to kind of match the mountain here, and that's why I chose this photo, because the mountain sort of goes up right here and then it falls off. And we can use this area that's going up and falling off to match up with the forehead a little bit. It's not going to be exact here, but it is going to be good enough to use. The only issue is this photo is currently not quite big enough based on where I want to position it. So I'll just hit Shift S on my keyboard or click to grab the scale tool. And then I'm just going to drag this so that it matches with the bottom of the photo. Make sure this little chain link icon is linked and hit scale. So that's positioned a little bit better there. I'll hit M on my keyboard and maybe scooch this to the left a little bit, right about there. Now that I've done that, I'm going to increase the opacity there. And next what I'll do is come over here and just duplicate the model layer, bring that up to the top, and I'm also going to change the layer mode of this because I don't want all of the elements from the original photo showing. So I'm going to change the layer mode here to, let's go with light and only, and you guys can play around with the layer modes as you work through this composition to get the best final result you want. So here you can see this is coming together. The double exposure effect is already starting to sort of show through here, but of course we've got all this excess happening here outside of the actual profile, and we have a lot of the original mountain photos still showing. So what I'll do is I'll come over here to the Paths dialog and make sure I'm on this path here, which is the profile shape, so I can just name this profile, hit the Enter key. Click this little icon here, and that's going to convert that path to a selection. Then come over here, and I'm going to add this as a layer mask on all of my layers. So I'm just going to right click, go to Add Layer Mask, and under Initialize Layer Mask 2, I'll choose Selection and click Add. If you're wondering why I'm not adding a layer group, it's because we are going to tweak each one of these layer masks so that they're slightly different as we progress through this tutorial, so they're not all going to have the same layer mask in the end. So I'm going to move on to the next one here. This is the mountain, so I'll right click, Add Layer Mask, and same thing, we'll go with Selection. And we're going to do it to this photo as well. Right click, Add Layer Mask, Selection. So now we have a transparent background. We're going to fix that in a little bit, so I'll hit Control-Shift-A. So here is our current result here. What I want to do to refine this to get the final result I want is I want to have more of his face showing and some of the clouds coming off here. And then I want the background to reflect the color of the sky so that it looks like this is all one photo. So I'll start by coming over here, creating a new layer, and we'll just name this background. Make sure the fill width is set to transparency and click OK. And then just click and drag this to the bottom. I'll hit Shift B on my keyboard. That'll grab my bucket fill tool. Holding the Control key, I'll grab a blue color from the sky here. We can always change this later. But I'll grab a nice blue color and fill this in. So now we have that color we want. We're going to leave this for now. Next, I'll grab my paintbrush tool, and I'm just going to click this icon to switch to black and white. And then I'm going to increase the size of my brush and make sure it's a fairly soft brush. So this is set to 47. And we can go a little bit larger here. Then I'll come over to my layer mask for the mountain layer. You'll know you're on your layer mask because you'll see a white line around here and a green dotted line around this instead of a yellow dotted line. So we're on the green dotted line, and painting with black, we're going to paint on the layer mask, and that's going to reveal the details in the face that we want to keep there. And I even kept some of the neck as well. That part is optional, obviously. And I'm just going to decrease the size of my brush a little bit for this portion. Again, I can use the brackets or the slider here. So the next thing I want to do is make it look like the clouds are sort of coming out of his head. So to do that, I'm going to come over here to the layer mask for the mountain layer, and I'm just going to paint white with this, so make sure your foreground color is switched to white. So it's okay if you paint a little bit too much of the clouds at first, which is what I'm doing. I'm kind of doing it on purpose, just to see what parts I like. So there we go. Now I'm going to hit the X key to switch back to black, and now I can paint out the elements that I don't want to keep and change the size of my brush as I go. So I'm only going to keep the big cloud here. I'm not going to keep this little cloud down here. And I'll come up top here, and right here there's a little bit too much of the sky, so I'm just going to sort of, using my soft brush, try to make this blend in a little bit better. And I think the blue we chose for the background is a little light, so I'm going to click on the background layer, Shift B to grab my bucket fill tool, hold the Control key or the Command key to grab that blue sky color, and then click to fill that color in here, and you can see that matches a little bit better. And if you want, you can also grab your paintbrush, come back to this layer here, the layer mask for your mountain layer, and just sort of, let me switch to black here, increase the size of my brush, make this sort of fade out a little bit as it gets close to the edge. That's obviously optional. So hold Control and zoom in. You can also add more elements here from the person's face. So for example, I'm on the layer mask still for the mountain layer, and I'm painting black on here. I can sort of reveal his ear if I want to, and any other elements of the face that maybe I want to keep. Hold Control and zoom out. Just a couple of finishing touches on here. What I want to do is add that blue layer to the very top and then change the layer mode so that the entire photo will sort of have that blue look to it instead of being more of a desaturated or black and white look. So come over here and duplicate the background layer. We can rename this blue, hit the Enter key, drag it to the top, and then change the layer mode to overlay. And then I can just decrease the opacity of that so it's not quite as intense. And there's our final photo. All right, so that's it for this tutorial. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, you could check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/daviesmediadesign. Don't forget to click the bell icon and be notified each time I have a brand new tutorial. You can also check out any of the links to my resources in the description of the video. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.